Today we're talking with Sarah and Karen, the creators and owners of Redbird Vintage Box. Thank you guys so much for talking with me today.
Happy to do it.
Yay. So, so many people absolutely adore Redbird. I loved watching everybody's unboxings, and I started doing my own. It's so much fun to see all the wonderful things you find for people. So I wanted to take the time to chat with you girls so everybody else can learn a little bit more about it as well. So how did you guys get started with this?
So over 3 years ago, it's kind of like a twofold. So I had a little Etsy shop where I was like redesigning vintage clothing. So I already kind of had that going. And then I had just had a second child, and I hated going out. I didn't want to go out anywhere. It was really difficult. So I started ordering subscription boxes. And I mean, I want to say like at the height, it was like 30 boxes that I had coming because I didn't like to go anywhere. I didn't want to shop for myself.
Sarah has a subscription addiction.
I did. Yeah, and much better now. I think I only have like 2 or 3 boxes now. But and then I started doing like little reviews on them and stuff. And Karen saw that and she called me and was like, "Oh my gosh, you should definitely we should do a vintage subscription box." And I feel like she said it almost kind of kidding. And I remember I was in the Target parking lot when I got the text message, and I was like, "This is a great idea." And so I'm calling her. I'm like, "Yeah, let's do this. Like, let's jump on it. Let's get this done." And
all the while me being like, "Okay, I live in New York.
Yeah.
You live in Texas right now. We have no idea how to start a business, but we did it 3 years later."
Yeah.
Wow, and so many people love it. So you guys are really doing an amazing job with this. So I guess it just started off, you threw it out there, and then you got your first subscriber, and then it just...
Yeah, so we were on vacation together when we launched, and now keep in mind, like, I mean, you know, we have big heads, and we're like, this is an amazing idea. Everyone's gonna think this is an amazing idea, and oh my gosh, we need to be here when we launch it because we're gonna get hundreds of people. And so we're sitting there with our whole, like, our family and you know, our spouses and partners and everything, and we're like, okay, live, and nothing happens. And I'm like, well, if they have to fill out this, like, they have to look at it, it's fine. And then I want to say it was like 3 days later that we got well, it wasn't even an order. It was a blogger who was like, "Will you send me a box to review?" And we were like, "Okay, yeah." Oh no, I think at that point, no, we did 50% off.
Then we were like, maybe it's too expensive.
Yeah. No, that we gave the blogger the box for 50% off.
Oh,
yeah,
that was a long time ago.
Okay.
And then we got our first customer, who was Rosemary, and she's still with us. And
Hi, Rosemary.
Yeah, and yeah, she was our very first one, and
we have, I think, 3 subscribers that have been with us from the very first, like, within the 3 months that we launched, that have been with us all 3 years, which is really cool because we've learned to really get to know them. And that's one thing that we love most about this, is just getting to know everybody, because we chat a lot.
Yeah.
And you really are doing such a great job. Obviously, you're getting more subscriptions all the time because I see you have to cut it off. You know, you can only handle so many. So, and is it just the 2 of you that do this?
Yes. Yeah, we well, and we have now we have 2 shoppers. And one is sister-in-law, and that has been beyond helpful. And just having Karen here these last months, because before we were just like flying her in for a couple days every month to kind of, like, you know, help pack and help style and do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And but now it's doing well enough that it can pay her some money. And so I
live in Florida now.
She lives in Florida now, which I have to tell you,
Congratulations.
like, from the very beginning, I feel like that was my goal, was we're gonna get Karen to me. Mm-hmm. She's my best little friend.
We are best little friends.
I love her.
Yeah. I can definitely tell you guys are sisters. It's great that you are so close and that you both have this passion for vintage? Where did the whole love for vintage even come from?
So I remember, so this is a very fond memory. When it was 1996, there was a vintage store called Classic Rags. We lived in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And I believe it's no longer a vintage store. It burned down like a couple years ago. I looked it up, like really bummed. But I'll never forget my mom taking us there as kids. I mean, I was like 12, so Sarah, 13 or so. I mean, like, young. And we just, I remember falling in love with it and kind of thinking this is really cool. But then our grandmother, whenever we would go visit her, she would always let us put on like her earrings, and she always had her closet full of old dresses, and there are photos of us like, in these dresses that are too big for us, but we just fell in love with it. And then she passed away back in 2002, and we took a lot of her clothing and jewelry, and we still have it as our like own personal collection. But that really kind of stemmed our love for vintage and the homemade item, and the work and the love that goes into each piece, and how each piece is kind of rebirthed once it finds a new home.
I agree with all that.
What she said. Do you guys have a favorite era yourselves that you tend to gravitate towards?
Yeah.
I flippy flop.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm kind of in a very like 1940s, 50s kind of vibe, but like a couple years ago it was very 60s, and some days I'm very 90s, and some days I'm 80s. So I love to just mix it up each day, something different. I love my long hair, so it's tough. Like if I were to go to a certain era, I feel like I would have to cut my hair
You would just roll it tighter.
I'd roll it tighter, yeah. But
absolutely. I only have short hair because my baby was pulling it out, because otherwise I'd have much longer hair. So you can definitely do long hair with any era. So it looks beautiful anyway.
Oh, thank you.
What I wanted to know is, where did the name Redbird Vintage Box come from?
My husband.
Oh,
yeah. Our grandmother was obsessed with cardinals. And so we were like, cardinal box. I forget what it was. And then Ryan was just like, what about like Redbird Vintage? And we were like,
yeah, that has a ring to it. Yeah. But cardinals specifically because of our grandmother, and her love of cardinals, was passed down to my dad, and my dad kind of passed that love down to us. And there is a saying, if you believe it or not, that if you see a cardinal, it's a loved one, coming back. So we always love that idea that not just our paternal grandmother, who's the one that kind of inspired the whole thing, but our maternal, our Marie, who's our mom's mom, they're both kind of like watching down on us and seeing what we're doing. So,
and in a way, the clothes themselves are coming back to us as well. So it's kind of a nice metaphor. And that's really, really beautiful. And the box itself, did you guys design that, or how did that come about?
Well, the image is from Shutterstock.
So we're not art.
Yeah, I can't.
We can't draw. But any of you can draw.
Serious, we should. Well, we toyed around with that about putting out something like a contest for somebody to do like our logo and stuff like that. But I think we're just not there yet, because we're still kind of toying with dropping the box and just being Redbird Vintage. So we bought that domain, but I don't know. It'll take some time to kind of get it to exactly where we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but the box is I love.
Well, now that she's deflected from New York to Florida, you guys have more time to. Next question I wanted to ask you guys. So obviously both of you love vintage, and your daughter Juliet obviously loves vintage as well. Is that something that's shared by the whole family? Do you guys?
I mean, Harrison doesn't care. Like, I mean, he takes like the broken jewelry and will make like robots out of it. Like that. Like he doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that our older sister Meredith has an affinity towards it as well, similar that we do. That she really appreciates the jewelry. Yeah. That when she finds a good piece of jewelry, she just goes bananas over it. So she has a love for that kind of stuff. And you know, our mom wears, you know, some kind of pieces from her mother and things like that. But I would say that, yeah, we're the aficionados.
It's a good word. I like that word. We'll use that.
If anybody has any questions on thrift or if something's worth something, they call on you.
Yeah. We
And
like
you
them
guys-
to be really impressed with us, so we try to pick things that they have no idea about, so they think it's just
You're right.
a lot harder than it is.
And this is just a question that I'm burning to know, because you guys get so much great stuff all the time. How do you have the willpower to give it away? How do you manage to not hoard and keep everything for yourselves?
I do this. So actually though, I'll take a piece home that I'm like, ooh, I really love this. If I don't wear it within that week, I return it back to the shop. Like that's pretty much my rule, because otherwise I will just have an entire closet full of things that I end up not wearing. Scarves are the one thing though that I will take home at least like 3 scarves a week secretly that Sarah's not looking, and I'm just like, whoop, whoop, whoop. So I do have just a ton of scarves at home, because I do wear the scarves. I wear a lot of scarves in my hair.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I hoard a lot. But what's great is that if we do have a special event, we do borrow from the shop, and we'll wear it out. And it's also a great conversation piece. And we're like, oh, hey, we have a business.
Yeah, Karen wears the clothing a lot, and then I don't wear it that much. If it's like Bakelite charm bracelets, Vera scarves, or snakeskin clutches, those I'll take, and I hoard them. I'm not like, I don't give them back. I keep them.
And actually,
they're there. They're in my closet forever.
Our shopper, one of Sydney, sent us a rather large box yesterday, and Sarah and I were fawning over this one 80s style dress with just, you know, sequined sleeves and kind of like sweater body, and both of us were like, oh, this is amazing. We can't get this to anyone. This is a perfect. And Sarah tried it on, and I was like, well, also because like she said, she rarely wears the clothes, and so for me, seeing her in a full vintage dress that is, you know, clearly
really
from the 80s, beautiful,
really
and I was
pretty.
like, oh, it looks so like really good on you. This is staying in your closet. Sorry, subscribers. Sorry.
I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that for next Christmas.
So
You got to keep some pieces for yourself, absolutely. But I commend you for having enough willpower to be able to pass some of this stuff on, because even some of this, I'm wearing everything that's come from you, and I don't think I would have been able to pass up any of this stuff. So thank you very much for letting go of it. Absolutely.
that's how. Yeah, because I feel greedy keeping it all, because I think about, because we see that, I mean, you guys send us reviews and you know, write us thank you notes, and so that's why it's so easy to let go of these items, because we know that they're like, we appreciate it, but we understand that there's somebody out there that is going to really appreciate it and really love it and just make them so happy. So that kind of makes, you know, I don't want to be a jerk.
You know it's going to a good home.
Everyone, like, because we get to know everybody, it's like passing it on to friends. Like, it's not like you're just like, all right, well, this is gonna go to, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the name of a non-subscriber.
We have a subscriber of every name.
It's not, well, like, we'll use Meredith's name. So it's not like we're saying, oh, we're going to send this to Meredith. Well, I don't know Meredith at all, but, you know, hopefully she'll like it. It's just more, it's like passing it on to friends. And it's not, you know, it's not 100% right every time, but our track record is pretty good. So we try.
We take criticism very personal. I take criticism.
Is that why you cancel the email, so you don't have to let her
Anyway.
And now you guys have subscribers all over the world. How many countries are you currently shipping to right now?
I want to say, I don't know. I mean, because I just made a list. I would say 15. At least 15. But we are, like, right now we've blocked off international orders because and it's something that I think we're going to cement the solution for April, but as we're like, when we first started, we only had a couple international subscribers, and we were like, oh, this is great. We love shipping internationally. And as we've grown, so has that international subscriber base. And, we charge $22.50 for international shipping, which is a lot. It's a lot of money for shipping. And it's that way for either the Marie or the Lorene. It doesn't matter. So, but the problem is that, especially for the Lorenes, it is becoming like $40 to $60 to ship the boxes. So and that's still like, obviously that's not good. But what makes it even worse is that if those boxes get lost or detained in customs, it's turning into an issue. And so we are right now we're doing Canada, but everywhere else we've put a hold on it for the rest of this month, and we're going to come up with something different for starting.
It's expensive to ship to Australia.
It is.
Australia, Norway, and Denmark are very.
The UK.
Oh, yeah. And
we're also running into that. We don't pay for the taxes. The import fees, import taxes, and girls are getting stuck. And it's a learning curve. So we were still learning how to do it, and now that we have more information, we're like,
import taxes.
Something's gotta change. So.
Yeah, Canada, I can see that being easy, but anytime you're going overseas, I can imagine that being a little bit trickier. But I've seen a couple of unboxing videos from around the world, and I was like, wow, this is kind of exciting, that stuff that you guys found here, and it makes it all over. So
makes it all over, which is very cool to think about, So.
Yeah, stuff that our grandmothers here used to wear now gets to go on vacation.
Yeah.
So before we say goodbye, I wanted to ask you guys if you have any news or promotions or anything coming up that you wanted to talk about.
No, I feel like the main thing was international shipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say we're this close on getting the workspace. It has to go through the appraisal, which it's already been appraised. We just need to make sure, but it's been through the inspection, and that's good. And as long as it appraises for near the price that we've offered, I shouldn't have said anything. Because this is like the third one.
More people will know about it, and even more
be crossing
good
their
vibes.
fingers. Yeah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
So the workspace will be a big deal to just have our own space and not invading Sarah's home and and whatnot. But it'll be a lot of fun having a new space and more room and
is that also the plan? Because you had mentioned in one of your videos that you wanted to maybe start doing coats or larger items. So is that so you can actually set up a shop from?
Well, and it'll still be all online for at least another year. It'll still be online. And then Karen is doing the research for retail spaces and possibly a different kind of box option.
Still a little. It's not super hush hush. I mean, I am researching a vintage inspired box that'll be under the Redbird umbrella. Yeah. So something that is the same thing, seasonally. It would be a seasonal box. But everybody would be sent the same thing, but it would be still a lot of fun.
And that'll teach us more about just actual retail and how to manage that and budget for that. Because right now, like, we've got this under control, but in order to open up a retail shop, I just feel like we need a little more experience to do that. And then if that retail shop opens, then that'll be yours.
It'll be mine.
Yeah, because I don't want to have to
deal.
So,
no, you don't want to have to go to work every day.
I love being the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. All the socializing that you have to do.
That's fine. That's why we're a good team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for doing this. It
was
such a great time chatting. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like your own subscription, please go to redbirdvintagebox.com and you can subscribe there. They have 2 different levels.
They have an all accessories box, and they have an accessories plus clothing box, which is the one that I get and I adore. And if you would like a discount on your first box, you can put in the code KATE10 and you will get 10% off of your first box. So thank you again for watching. Please subscribe if you love all things vintage and you do not mind someone who rambles. I have a lot of things planned for the future, so I hope to see you in the next one.